We're here on a permanency hearing. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. Mr. Taylor's with us representing the father, Mr. Tolbert, who I show is still incarcerated. And then Mr. Carey's here as a potential intervener representing Ms. Ruiz. Mr. Carey, your client's not in the waiting room. Were you expecting her?
No, Judge.
Okay. All right. Let me just talk about the intervention first. We're not going to hear that today. I've got several things I need to bring up. First of all, Mr. Carey, you filed a petition and intervention. In a CPS case, you have to file a motion for leave to intervene. You're not automatically entitled to an intervention.
I understand, Judge. I'll do that.
And then, of course, that brings me to my next point. Ms. Wiggins filed a motion to strike. And in that motion, she first says that your client is attempting to intervene under 102.004A1. And then in the very next paragraph, she talks about 102.004B1, meaning the substantial past contact. Your petition just basically says the intervener has standing to bring this suit, but you don't state what that is. So I'm gonna order that you replead for a motion for leave to intervene and specifically set out what you think your standing is.
All right, I'll do that.
And then we'll see, Ms. Wiggins. I'm not sure how you decided which one they were pleading under since they didn't state it. So we'll wait and see what their new pleading says. I don't think we could do it if you're Mr. Carey, if you pled it under that your clients had substantial past contact, the burden would be on you to prove that. And if your client's not here, I'm not sure how you could do that today anyway. So once you've repled it, then if you'll just get with Haley, we can get a hearing date set just for that. Both for your motion for leave to intervene and for the motion to strike filed by the department. So,
all right, Judge, that makes sense. That way we'll get it sorted out before the hearing.
Yeah. So, frankly, since you have not been allowed intervention yet, it looks like you're in your car, if you're headed somewhere else, we're just having a permanency hearing today that wouldn't affect your client yet anyway. So you're free to go if you choose to. If you want to stay and listen, you can.
No, Judge, I'm going to go ahead. I'm in the 108. I just pulled over on the roadside to be able to accommodate this.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So you're free to go, and we'll see you at the next hearing.
All right, thanks, Judge.
Thank you. All right. I've only got Jason Zoll in the waiting room. Do we need Jason in on this case?
I don't believe so, Judge.
Okay, then we are ready to proceed, Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Judge. I'd call Shay Grant. Where is Elena currently placed?
She's in a foster home here in Amarillo.
And how is she doing in that home?
She's doing really well. She's well bonded to the foster parents and the other kiddos in the home. She goes to daycare. She does well there, and all her medical and dental is being taken care of.
Okay, great. Is she having visitation with a potential placement, other family placement?
Yes.
And how are those visitations going?
They're going good so far.
That's good. And can you just inform the court how that family is connected to the child?
So the family member is Mr. Tolbert's stepdad, so Elena's step-grandfather.
Okay. And are they looking, if things go well, are they looking to become placement for the child?
Yes.
And are they willing to adopt if that is what happens at the final hearing?
Yes.
Okay. And is that also the placement that the father wanted the child to be in?
Yes, it is.
Now, regarding the father, is he still incarcerated?
Yes.
And have you been able to visit him recently?
I have.
And sorry, my cats are going a little crazy. How is he, I guess, is he understanding of the visitation that we're trying to get for his stepdad before we moved him to placement?
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Just a couple of questions, Your Honor. Ms. Wiggins pretty well covered most of what I had asked. When you visited with Mr. Tolbert, did he relate to you that his criminal charges are still pending and he doesn't know the disposition that will result?
Yes.
But he is expecting to more than likely end up incarcerated for a considerable period of time. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But up until he was incarcerated back in July of 2023, he was fully cooperative and working his service plan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, nothing further on.
Okay, Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
All right. Ms. Wiggins, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor, we are just asking if Mr. Taylor does intend to have his client here for the final hearing. I hadn't seen a motion to get him to appear yet, so I just wanted to make sure that was happening.
Yeah, so Mr. Taylor, you'll need to file a motion to have him appear. Is he in Randall or Potter?
He's in Potter.
Okay, you'll need to file a motion to have him appear at the final hearing. That may affect the time we have. I don't know how Potter County does it. They may only have certain times that they will let their inmates appear by Zoom. So you'll need to file that motion in time for the final hearing, and it might affect the time we have the hearing. But okay, Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Continue department as temporary managing conservator, continue placement. Child's doing well in placement.
All right, thank you. Okay, then I will continue department as temporary managing conservator, continue the child's current placement. I'll set a final for March 4th, 2024. Haley has it. It'll be at 1 o'clock. Mr. Taylor, once you file your motion, if you want your client to appear, that might affect the time depending on how they run their jail in Potter County, but we can adjust for that.
I'll get that filed right away, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then. Otherwise, it will be set for March 4th at 1 o'clock. That will conclude this hearing. We'll wait and see if Mr. Carey repleads, if we need to set a hearing on his motion for leave to intervene, and Ms. Wiggins' motion to strike. We'll set that prior to the final hearing. So,
Judge, I do intend to call Mr. Tolbert as a witness for that motion to intervene. And so if we could just unfortunately have that right before the final hearing, I would appreciate that, just because I need him to testify about where everybody was living prior to the CPS intervening.
okay, well, let's set that earlier. And Mr. Taylor, you may have to try to get him to appear at that, or you may want to subpoena him, Ms. Wiggins. But
Okay.
I don't want Mr. Carey have to show up for a final hearing, and then I deny his intervention. So,
Okay, I understand, Judge.
yeah, we can hear that anytime between now and March 4th. I'm fine with that. So,
Okay.
okay, that will conclude this hearing. Mr. Naranjo is with us representing the child. Mr. Adams is with us representing the mother, Ms. Wyrick, who is with us. And the alleged father, Billy Moody, is not with us, and he's not in the waiting room. I have in the waiting room I'm sorry, she's for another hearing. Christina Hunter.
Yes, she's my worker, Judge.
All right, then. This case was set for 9:40. It's now 9:44. We'll proceed in the alleged father, Mr. Moody's absence. Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I call Christina Hunter. Where's the child currently placed?
He's currently placed in a foster home in Region 2.
And how is he doing there?
He's doing really well.
Okay. Is all of his medical needs being met at this time?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And is visitation occurring between the parents and the child?
Between the mom and the child, yes.
Okay. And how are those visitations going?
They're going well.
Okay. And how often are they happening?
So Karina is able to visit face-to-face with Jesse bi-weekly. She sees him, they meet in Lubbock because of the distance. And then she also has a 15-minute virtual in between those other 2 visits.
Okay. And how long does she get on the biweekly visits?
I believe it's an hour.
Okay. And regarding the mother, have we created a service plan for her?
We have.
And have you been able to go over that service plan with her?
Yes.
And did you actually have a meeting with her to kind of help plan and compile the service plan?
Yes. When we met with her initially, we met with both her and Billy together. Got a lot of background history on both of them, talked about what their needs were, their hopes, their dreams, those kinds of things for themselves as well as for their child.
Okay. And at that point in time, was a service plan created to address the issues of removal?
Yes.
And has Karina signed that service plan?
She has.
And does she understand what is expected of her from the department?
She does.
And can you just list a couple of services specifically for Karina?
Specifically for Karina is to she's going to be taking rational behavior therapy, individual counseling, completing a psychosocial. She's also going to be completing an OSAR as well to see what type of drug treatment, if any, is necessary for her. Obviously, since the reasons for removal were because of drug usage. She's also to maintain stable housing, gain employment, those types of things as well.
Okay. And did you create a service plan for the alleged father, Mr. Moody?
We did.
And once he is determined, or if he is determined to be the father, then the department will help him with those services. Is that correct?
We are willing to go ahead and help him with those services even now.
Okay, great. And has he reviewed and signed the service plan?
He has not.
Yes. Okay. And but you said he was there at the meeting when you discussed what potential services would be added.
Yes.
All right. Are you asking that the court make these service plans in order of the court?
Yes, we are.
And regarding drug screens, are there any drug screens we need to request for today?
We are requesting a hair follicle and UA for Karina, as well as for Billy.
All right. Anything else that the court needs to be aware of today?
And Karina's actually already been doing really well about staying in contact with both myself and her parent support worker. And she's actually even got all her services currently set up as of the moment right now too.
Great. That's wonderful. Okay. And do you believe that Karina needs, does she have transportation to get a drug test today, or is the department going to help her?
If she doesn't have transportation available, we can be able to set that up. It's everything's on a little bit of delay because of the weather, unfortunately. But we will definitely assist with getting her there if the judge orders it for today.
Okay. And we're obviously okay if he does it like noon tomorrow because of the weather.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hunter, are you having regular contact with Mr. Moody?
Unfortunately, the contact with Mr. Moody has been very irregular. He's been couch surfing. He recently just got back in contact with us. But he unfortunately did not make the paternity testing either.
Okay,
So it's a hit and miss, unfortunately.
Okay, that's what I was getting around to. So we'll stay after trying to get him paternity tested, correct?
Yes.
Okay. As far as today, would you say it's a continuing danger to the physical health and safety of the child to be returned to either parent today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you say that it's contrary to the child's welfare to be returned to either parent today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, thank you. Mr. Adams, questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. You stated that Karina's doing very well in her services. Is that correct?
She has got her services set up, but she hasn't actually fully started them yet.
Which she's cooperating with the department. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, yes, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm going to go take a break. Larry, you take over.
Would the department have any problem? Would the department have any problem with the mother getting maybe 2 hours every 2 weeks so that she can further develop her parenting skills while she's got a supervisor there to help?
I don't believe that should be an issue.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Naranjo.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. All right, then. Ms. Wiggins, any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, we rest.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, any witnesses?
No witnesses.
All right, Mr. Naranjo, recommendations?
Your Honor, I'd recommend that the department remain temporary managing conservator. The only concern that I had is when we spoke with foster placement, they had said that the baby had been struggling with withdrawal symptoms, including diarrhea and tremors. And after an in-person visit with mom, the baby began to have severe diarrhea again and went to the hospital due to that. So I would just ask that mom's visitation be suspended if she is positive on that UA.
Okay, all right.
And if she could provide a clean UA, I have no objection to increasing visitation.
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, then I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue Jesse's current placement. I'll order the services for the parents as contained in their service plans. Obviously, that's assuming that Mr. Moody tests and is found to be the biological father. I will order both Ms. Wyrick and Mr. Moody to both hair strand and UA drug screen by 4 p.m. tomorrow because of the weather today. If Ms. Wyrick's drug tests are negative, then I don't have any problem with increasing her visitation to 2 hours when she's in person, assuming that there's an HST that can allot that much time. I don't have a problem at all with increasing her visitation if she's negative. So, okay, I'll set the next hearing, the initial permanency hearing for June 17th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing. So parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or so in advance of June 17th to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. Ms. Wyrick, if you'd unmute, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Wyrick, I have to admonish you today that the services contained in your service plan become a court order today. At a final hearing, if you haven't worked those services, your parental rights could be altered or terminated. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. That will conclude this hearing. I'll be ordered to participate, and this is a Texas Family First case. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram is with us representing the children. Mr. Jackson is with us representing the father, Mr. Lovelace, who is with us. I'm still showing he's an alleged father. We can take that up here in just a minute. And then Ms. Naranjo is with us representing the mother, Ms. Clay, who is also with us. All right, I don't have anyone in the waiting room that's not associated with our next case. So Ms. Gutierrez, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I wanted to inform the court and my fellow attorneys that unfortunately our court report looks like it cut off the last couple of pages. I do apologize about that. We did not discover it soon enough to get it filed in time for everybody to read. I will inform the court and the other parties that we are asking for dismissal today. I do plan to call my client and ask some questions.
Okay. All right, then. You may call your client.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Elaine Lucero as its witness. Your Honor, Elaine, who do you work for?
For the Department of Family and Protective Services.
And are you the assigned FBSS caseworker for Allison Clay and Jared Lovelace?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you tell us how Allison Clay has progressed up to this time?
Yes. Allison has cooperated with the intensive family-centered treatment through the TFF program. She's talked to me about that, and that she's learned better communicating skills, and, you know, dealing with her family, with her kids, with her husband. And so she feels like she's gained quite a bit from that program. She's attended counseling with Tim and Volson, and at this time, there's been no safety concerns noted. As far as Allison is concerned, the family was approved for SNAP, and so that has greatly helped their family. Allison worked hard in getting that started. That was kind of an issue for a while. And she's also got both Silas and Aiden caught up on their immunization, so they were able to start daycare on February the 5th. So that'll be a big positive for the family moving forward. As far as her drug screen, she's been cooperative with us on that. She gave us a negative UA in December. She did give us a positive hair follicle. However, that was dating to October, which, you know, that wasn't exactly the 90 days, and it was positive for marijuana. So, but she did give us a negative UA after that. And so I've spoken to her about the marijuana use. It's kind of been an on and off thing throughout the case. But we haven't had necessarily any safety concerns when it comes to the marijuana that would any new intakes or reports since I've spoken to her about it in October. So.
Okay. And if we could get some update on Mr. Lovelace's progress as well.
He has also been cooperative with the TFF, the family-centered treatment, and also voices some that it has been positive for their family and working with Wendy, their FIS worker. He completed intensive outpatient treatment through daily recovery, and he did provide me a certificate of completion for that. In December, he provided us a negative hair follicle and a negative UA, and he's been negative throughout the entirety of this case. He's employed. He did receive a promotion into a supervisor type position at work, which has been a big positive for his family, and making sure that they have, you know, stability. And then he also had been attending counseling with Tim and Volson. There haven't been any concerns noted necessarily, but he was referred to AA in the event in the future there was any relapses or any issues. He were to have somewhere to go. So he was taught how to use that online resource. But as of right now, he's been doing great. No concerns of any substance abuse.
Okay, fantastic. How is Chloe doing? I think one portion of your court report that was filed said she was in counseling. Is that correct?
Yes, she's in counseling with Stephanie Doughty. I spoke with Stephanie, and she keeps up with the family and contacts them from time to time. It's been about over a year now that she's been going to Stephanie, so she's doing okay there. And so Allison had said she would continue to follow up with Stephanie moving forward to ensure that Chloe's mental health needs are met.
Thank you. Are there any updates on Titan?
Nothing different. No.
Okay. Can you give us some details on how he's doing?
Yes, he's attending school regularly. So is Chloe. He's also been in attendance for some of those sessions with the FIS worker through Texas Family First. So, you know, they work with them as a whole, as a family. At the beginning of the case, there was some concerns of possible self-harm, but he went to the behavioral health unit. That was early on in this case. And they dismissed him. And since then, there hasn't been any other concerns or issues that we would need to refer him out for any other services.
Now, you let us know that both Silas and Aiden started daycare at the beginning of the month. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Are there any other updates as to Silas and Aiden?
There's not.
Okay. Are we asking the court to terminate the order to participate today?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass my witness.
Mrs. Naranjo?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right. Anything else from the department?
Nothing else from the department, Your Honor. We just ask that termination of the OTP be granted.
Okay. All right then. Mr. Ingram, are you in agreement?
I am.
Okay. Okay, then, based on the department's, I will grant the department's motion to terminate the order to participate, and I will dismiss this case. Congratulations to Ms. Clay. Sure you'll be happy not to have to see me anymore. An initial permanency hearing. Okay. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. Mr. Jackson is with us representing the father, Mr. Alexander, who I take it is with Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
And Mr. Onho is with us representing the mother, Ms. Hall, who is with us. I have, I guess I still have an alleged father in this case, Raul Gonzalez. He is not with us and he's not in the room. I have Shay Grant in the waiting room.
Thank you, Your Honor. To start, I'd like to address the issue with Raul Gonzalez, Your Honor.
Okay.
He was served. Unfortunately, I do not believe, and nor does the department or St. Francis believe, that the Raul Gonzalez served in Georgetown, Texas is the correct Raul Gonzalez. We've had some conversations with Ms. Hall about that. I think I need to non-suit him and just put some specifics about maybe the Raul Gonzalez served in Georgetown, Texas, something like that. And I just wanted to notify the court that that was going to be coming.
Okay. All right. And then I don't, my record, do we have a father either alleged or presumed for Samantha?
Yes, Your Honor, that is David Hall. Similar problem with Raul. David Hall is a very common name, and we served the incorrect David Hall, I believe, in Florida. He was subsequently dismissed, and we repled with just Mr. Hall's information being unknown. So Mr. Hall is a party, but the incorrect Mr. Hall has been taken out of the case.
Okay. All right. Okay. That answers my question. So, all right. Ms. Grant, I swore you earlier this morning, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're still under oath. So Ms. Gutierrez, you may
And
proceed.
is Tabitha the mother of all three?
Yes.
And is Joel Alexander Schuyler's father?
Yes.
Father David Hall, whose information is unknown.
Yes.
And is Bryson's alleged father, Raul Gonzalez, whose information is unknown as well.
Yes.
Okay. And you filed a court report on January 25th of 2024. Is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, we ask the court take judicial notice of that court report.
All right. So noted. And I have read that report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Shay, are all three children placed back at home with Tabitha and Joel?
Not yet.
Okay. Has a reunification plan been created for this family?
Yes, it has.
Could you give us some details on that reunification plan?
Yes, the parents started unsupervised visits, gradually increased. They had their weekend visit February 2nd through the 4th. Unsupervised and weekend visits went very well.
Okay. And what is the estimated time frame for placing the children back at home if everything continues to go well?
We would like to place them today if possible, or sometime this week.
Now, in your court report, it reflects that Samantha is currently in an emergency shelter. Is that correct?
Yes.
And she was placed there December 15th of 2023. Is that correct?
Yes.
What caused her placement change to the emergency shelter?
She was previously in a foster home in Panhandle. We had concerns with those foster parents, the way that they were treating both Samantha and Bryson. We were just concerned for their well-being and their mental health. So we initiated a placement change.
Okay. How are they doing at the current placement? Can you give us some details?
Yes. Both Samantha and Bryson are doing well. Samantha's in school. She likes her new school. She's made new friends. The shelter is taking care of their medical and their dentals. They both get along with the other kids in the home, so they're doing good.
And are Samantha and Bryson still placed together?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how is Schuyler doing in his placement?
Schuyler's doing well. He made a lot of progress from the previous foster home. These last couple of weeks, he's had small behavior issues, and I think it's due to him being excited that he was going to go home soon. So nothing major, but he's doing good in school. medical and dental is current. He's made a lot of progress.
Okay. Now is Samantha in therapy?
Yes.
Okay. And that's as needed. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she's on no medication at this time. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And is Skylar on medication?
Yes.
Okay. Is it psychotropic?
Yes, it is.
And you have listed in your court report guanfacine and risperidone. Is that the current medication list for him?
Yes.
Are those medications being monitored and reviewed at least every 30 days by a psychiatrist?
Yes, they are.
And has Skylar been given an opportunity to talk about whether or not those meds are helpful to him?
Yes.
And what has he indicated?
He feels like they are. He doesn't really understand what they are, what they're for, but he doesn't have any side effects, and he says that he feels like they help him.
Okay, that is great. And he is in therapy as well. Is that correct?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Now, Bryson, how old is Bryson?
He's 3.
Okay. And is he in any kind of therapy right now?
He only does speech therapy.
Okay. And Samantha and Bryson are also up to date on their medical and dentals. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's great. Now let's move on to Tabitha. How is Tabitha doing on her services?
She did well. She's completed parenting and individual counseling. So she's done all the services that we needed her to do.
Okay. And how is Joel doing on his services?
And Joel is complete as well in individual counseling and parenting classes.
Okay. Are there any services for Tabitha or Joel that have been recommended and need to be ordered by the court?
No, ma'am.
Do the children need any services ordered by the court?
No, ma'am.
And what determines whether or not the children are placed at home today versus at some point this week?
Nothing really. Skylar's in Lubbock, so we just have to get him here.
So it's just a matter of transport. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Grant, is the department, are y'all asking for a monitored return or just a change of placement, just to place the kids with parents?
Just to place with parents.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Naranjo, questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson?
Briefly, Your Honor. Ma'am, I was looking at the recommendations that you had in your report, and that you were recommending a review hearing to be held within 4 months. Is that correct?
Yes.
And if everything goes well during these next 4 months, would you anticipate recommending a dismissal of the case thereafter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Ingram?
Shay, if the kids are placed back home today, what plans are in place for after school care for Samantha and Skylar and for daycare with regard to Bryson?
Ms. Hall will be home. Mr. Alexander will be working. She's taking a leave of absence from work.
Okay, thank you. Pass witness.
All right. All right. Anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Naranjo, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson?
No witnesses.
Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I do believe it to be in the children's best interest for all 3 to be placed back home today or as soon as possible.
All right. All right, then I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I'll order that the children be placed back with their parents as soon as possible this week. I was going to set a permanency hearing for June 3rd. Do we want to just set that, leave it as a permanency, or call it a final and we can change it back to a permanency if we need to?
Your Honor, I think we are safe to call it a final hearing.
Okay.
Shay, is that correct? Are we safe to call that a final hearing, the next hearing?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Yes,
All right.
Your Honor.
Okay, then I will set a final for June 3rd, 2024. As I said, if something goes wrong, we can always change that back to a permanency, but that will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or 2 in advance to see exactly what time that hearing will take place. All right, Ms. Hall, Mr. Alexander, congratulations on completing your services and doing so well. Glad the kids are doing well, and I'm sure you're happy to have a compliance hearing following in order to participate. Okay, Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children, and Mr. Michelson is with us representing the mother, Miss Osborne, who's with us. Osborne, who's with us. I have Sarah Gonzalez in the waiting room.
She's
sorry, Sarah Gonzalez Williams. She's your worker?
Yes, and this is a Texas Family First case, is that correct?
Correct.
And what are the issues in the home?
In the home right now, it's maintaining the cleanliness and being hazard free of the home.
Okay, and recently, so this case has been going on since August of 2023, is that correct?
Correct.
And at times, the house has been clean, is that a fair statement?
Yes.
But unfortunately, within a matter of days, it can return to a state that is not suitable for children. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
And because of that, has the department done a family safety placement for the children to be outside of the home at this time?
Correct.
And who are the children currently placed with?
With paternal grandfather and step grandmother.
And are they familiar with that? Those individuals, the kids?
Yes. Yes.
And in regards to the mother, what is our goal with trying to get the children out of the home and then the mother focused on the home?
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
Sure, that was probably a bad question. With the children placed outside of the home, what are we wanting the mom to focus on right now?
Oh, we want her to focus on being able to maintain the home, being consistent with ensuring that the home is going to be free of any safety hazards.
And are we hoping with the children out of the home, she'll have time to focus on what she needs to do every day? That way, when the children are returned, she can keep that up.
Correct.
And are we also asking for an extension on this order to participate for 6 months?
Correct.
And are those all the things that we have done, is that an attempt to eliminate the need for the children to be formally legally removed?
Correct.
And let's see. And Judge, I'd like to offer Petitioner Exhibit 1 through 18. Those are photographs, and I did include a exhibit list, so everyone can understand what those photographs are from. And we just want to enter those to the court so we can show you how the house is, how it gets clean, and then how, unfortunately, it gets messed up again.
All right, objections? Okay, all right, petitioners exhibits 1 through 18 are admitted.
Okay, and I would pass the witness, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Michelson?
Thank you. Ms. Williams, is Ms. Osborne clear about the goals for her plan?
Yes.
Okay, and you've had conversations with her about the cleanliness of the house?
Yes.
Okay, and what issues does she present with keeping it cleanly?
Can you explain that question?
Does she is too much going on in her life that prevents her from cleaning the house, or are there other issues, lack of supplies to clean the house?
So I've asked her about lack of supplies, and I have brought her cleaning supplies. And so I've offered that each time that we've asked her to ensure the house stays clean. So I don't feel like that's an issue. We have also in the past, we're aware of some depression, and she is addressing that by going to Texas Panhandle Centers, which was one of the services that we've asked her to complete on her family plan of service. So she is getting that addressed as well. So I am not certain as to why she is not able to maintain the home. Those were some of the concerns that I did have that maybe contributed to it. But as of right now, I have no idea why she's unable to maintain the home.
Okay, thank you. You also indicated hazards in the home. Is she clear about what those hazards are?
Yes.
Okay, and for the court's understanding, what are the hazards?
So there's been times where there have been spoiled food, There's been dirty diapers on the floor. There's been food that has been in reach of the children where they would pick it up and eat it. There's also been cigarettes and lighters sitting out on the sofa. There's also been medication that has been out that she was prescribed. And so those are some of the things that I've addressed with her.
Okay. And has she attempted to remedy those?
Yes.
Okay. And are you pretty satisfied those hazards are not existing at the present time?
Right now, the last time I've been out to visit with her was on the 7th, and the house that I could say that she did remedy those at that time.
Okay. And those exhibits are a timeline, correct? They're not all taken from one day. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Ingram?
Ms. Williams, is there some reason I was not notified that the children were taken out of the home and put into a safety placement?
I wasn't aware that I needed to inform you.
Please be sure and get that information, placement information to Andy.
Correct, I will.
Pass witness.
All right. Anyone have further questions for Ms. Williams? All right.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further from the department?
No, Judge, I just wanted to bring to the court's attention, we did previously extensively considered removal of the children and under these circumstances. However, obviously per law, we have to find any way we can do that to avoid removal. And so I just want to explain that this is our last effort to avoid removal at this time.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. All right, then, Mr. Michelson, did you have any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
I assume or suppose continue the order. I have no idea how the children are doing because I didn't know where they were.
All right. I will grant the department's motion to extend the previous order to participate. I will order that Ms. Osborne continue working the services as previously ordered by the court. Ms. Wiggins, do you want a compliance hearing?
Yes, Your Honor. I feel like we probably need one maybe 6 weeks out, a little sooner than
I've got March 18th.
that will work.
Okay. All right. I will set a compliance hearing then for March 18th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing. So parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance hearing of March 18th. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. Mr. Michelson is with us representing the mother, Ms. Smith, who is with us. The alleged father, Mr. Bowie is not with us, and he's not in the waiting room. This case was set for 11 o'clock. It's now 11:04. We'll proceed in his absence. I have Deanne Hussing in the waiting room.
That is one of the caseworkers, Your Honor. I thought it was going to be Erica Cantrell, but I believe Deanne's on it too.
Okay. Yeah,
Your
Erica's not in my waiting room.
Yes, if we could let Deanne in. And I thought Mr. Nowak had been appointed to Mr. Bowie.
Well, if he was, it was by mistake because Mr. Bowie filled out a request for a court-appointed attorney, and he requested paternity testing. So until he's found to be the father, I had a note about Vince Nowak also, but I don't know how that got there. I don't recall appointing him.
Your Honor, if I may, we amended our pleading after we filed our initial pleading and after the adversary hearing. We found 2 acknowledgement of paternity signed by Mr. Bowie. At that point, I alerted the court that our pleading had been amended and that those AOTs had been found.
Maybe that's how it happened. Well, Haley's ran an errand real quick, so I'll check with her because she showed Mr. Nowak had been appointed, but at any rate, neither one of them is here, so we'll go ahead and proceed without him.
Your Honor.
Your Honor, I've asked if Erica Cantrell can come in and testify since Deanne is having issues with her computer.
Okay, she didn't drop off. I can remove her if you want me to.
Yeah, can we try that?
There she went.
Okay.
Your Honor, the department calls Erica Cantrell as its witness.
Right. Okay, so Ms. Gutierrez, you want to call Ms. Hussing now? Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, the department calls Deanne Hussing.
All right, if you'd unmute again, Ms. Hussing.
And is their mother Neely Smith?
Yes, ma'am, she is.
And is their father Kobe Bowie?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
Where are Kavari and Kaylin currently placed?
They are both placed in a foster home down in Houston, Texas. They are together.
That's great. Can you give us some details on how they are doing in that placement?
They are doing great. Every time I have done a Zoom meeting with them, they seem happy, playful, smiling, rolling around, enjoying their sippy cups and their bottles. They seem to have bonded very well with their foster mother.
Okay. And did you prepare a court report for this case filed on January 23rd, 2024?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. Check that. And was that signed by Erica Cantrell?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we ask that the court take judicial notice of that court report.
Okay, so noted, and I have read that report.
Thank you. Now, Deanne, are there any pending home studies for Kavari and Kaylin?
There is a pending home study with Miss Neely's great aunt. The home study has been completed and it's pending approval or denial by St. Francis supervisors.
Okay, who is the supervisor that will be making that decision on that home study?
It'll be Kristen Davis and Ethan Woods.
Now, as far as visitation with the kids here in Houston, has Miss Neely Smith been able to visit with the children?
Yes, ma'am. She has 1 hour virtual visits with them every Tuesday.
And has she been making those visits?
Yes, ma'am. There was one instance where she missed one visit, but there was a mix-up with the foster mother as to what time it started. So that was not a missed visit due to her fault. That was a technical issue with the foster mother, but she has been making all visits.
How are those visits going?
I believe the visits are going very well. She enjoys watching her babies, and they seem to light up whenever they see their mommy on the computer.
That's great to hear. And is Mr. Bowie making his visits with the children?
Not at this time. I submitted the request to start the visits on January 25th, and I've asked for an update on whether or not those visits have started. I am still waiting on that update, and Mr. Bowie has not brought the issue to my attention either.
Have you had any communication, or have you or Erica had any communication with Mr. Bowie since the adversary hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Which one of you had the communication, you or Erica?
I did.
And what was that conversation about?
He is starting his services. He's got enrolled in the father plan. He's gone to drug test again, and he's got his counseling services set up to start this week.
Okay, that is great. Now, have you created service plans in this case for both parents?
Yes, ma'am.
And are those that's creating the service plan, is that the reasonable effort of the department to reunify the family?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And do the service plans aim to mitigate the reasons for removal?
Yes, ma'am.
And are they reasonably tailored to the issues in the case?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
And very briefly, the issues in the case are drug use and domestic violence. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. And what services are uniquely tailored for Miss Smith?
So Miss Smith, she will go in for her drug testing. She's already submitted to one hair follicle, and she's submitted to one successful UA. There was another one requested. However, she was unable to attend that one. She will be doing parenting classes, and she will maintain a job and let St. Francis know of any changes in her residency, and she will be involved in a domestic violence support group.
Okay, aside from drug testing, is there a substance abuse assessment included in her service plan?
Yes, ma'am. It is the OSAR, which she has signed, and it has been submitted.
Great. Now, has Miss Neely reviewed her service plan?
Yes, ma'am, she has.
Has she signed it?
Yes, ma'am, she has.
Okay. And what services are uniquely tailored to Mr. Bowie?
So uniquely tailored to Mr. Bowie would be the BIP program for batters and prevention program from Family Support Services, as well as as well as parenting classes and counseling.
Okay. And that BIP program, that's Batters Intervention Prevention Program, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Have you reviewed that service plan with Mr. Bowie?
Yes, ma'am.
And has he signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we asking today that that those service plans be made in order of the court?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Okay. Now, as far as requests, are we asking the court to order any drug screens?
Yes, we are.
And what type and on who?
We would like to continue to drug screen both parents. Urine drug screen for Mr. Bowie and urine and hair follicle for Miss Neely. For Miss Smith, I'm sorry.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Ms. Hudson, would it be a continuing danger to the physical health and safety of the children to be returned to either parent today?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe so.
All right. And would it be contrary to the children's welfare to be returned to either parent today?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Michelson?
Thank you. Ms. Hussing, you indicated that Neely signed the OSTAR. What did you mean by that?
The OSAR referral and release of information. So she had to sign the release of information so that way
Okay.
I could see the room.
All right. That makes sense. All right. And is there any reason visits could not increase for Neely Smith since the children are quite small and it would be an issue of bonding with mother and children?
We do believe visits could increase virtually. Yes, sir.
Okay. And did Neely indicate to you the reason why she couldn't appear for the drug test, her last drug test?
Yes, there was a work issue.
Okay. And she was the only manager on her shift and couldn't leave to take the drug test. Is that what she told you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
Ms. Hudson, did you say you wanted Mr. Bowie to only UA and for Ms. Smith to both UA and hair?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. All right then. Ms. Gutierrez, anything further from the department?
Yes, quick follow-up.
Okay.
The drug screens that Miss Smith missed, what was the date of that?
It was last Thursday, 8th, February the 8th.
Okay. All right, no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, anyone else? All right then. Ms. Gutierrez, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor, we do ask that the service plans be made in order of the court, that the father be ordered to urinalysis drug screen, and that the mother be ordered to urinalysis and hair follicle drug screen. We also ask for a finding of reasonable efforts, that we have continued with the drug screening, created service plans, and are facilitating visitation.
Okay. All right then, Mr. Michelson, any witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Continue department as temporary managing conservator or continue placement. Children appear to be doing well in placement.
All right, thank you. Okay, then I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue the current placements. I'll order the services for the parents as contained in the service plans. I'll order Mr. Bowie to UA drug screen by 4 p.m. tomorrow based on the road conditions today. And I'll order Miss Smith to both hair strand and UA drug screen by 4 p.m. tomorrow. I do find that the department has made reasonable efforts to reunify the family by creating service plans for the parents and by offering visitation. All right, Ms. Smith, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Smith, I need to admonish you today, the services contained in your service plan become a court order today. At a final hearing, if you haven't worked those services, your parental rights could be altered or terminated. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, that will conclude this hearing. Our next hearing will be the initial permanency hearing on June 17th, 2024. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. Ms. Lucero is with us representing the mother, Ms. Michener, who is with us. And Ms. Archer is with us representing the father, Mr. Franklin, who I show is incarcerated in Potter County.
Your Honor, my
Okay.
client was going to attend by phone. Is there
Okay,
anyone waiting?
No, ma'am. I have the mother in our next hearing, and then I have Cherie Hughes in the waiting room.
Okay, well, perhaps it just didn't work out.
I'll watch for him just in case. Ms. Gutierrez, is Cherie Hughes your witness?
Yes, Your Honor, she is. And Lorraine Lucero just sent a chat to everyone in the hearing that she doesn't have audio. She's going to call in.
Okay, Ms. Archer, we're not going to have Mr. Franklin here, so Ms. Gutierrez, you can proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Cherie Hughes as its witness. And is their mother Melissa Mitchner?
Yes, ma'am.
And is Kelly Franklin the father of Killian and Kylan?
Yes, ma'am.
And Emberly's father is not a part of this case. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. Can we get an update on Killian, please?
Yes, Killian is 5 years old. He is in public school. He is currently living with his maternal grandmother. They were all in the home with mom, but due to a bond restriction that was put into place on January the 22nd, he now is living with just his brother and maternal grandmother. There is a maternal great grandfather in the home that the maternal grandmother is taking care of. He's doing well. He looks good. He does not talk to me much. They're both very shy, but I'm working on trying to get them to warm up where we can carry on a conversation.
Okay, and you mentioned that Killian lives with his brother. Is that Kylan?
Yes.
Okay, so he's placed with maternal, well, not placed, but the mother has the Kylan living with Killian at the maternal grandmother's home. Is that correct?
Yes, they're actually in the maternal great grandfather's home, but they are all living there together.
Okay, and Emberly continues to live with her own father. Is that correct?
Yes, and since my report, I actually have been able to meet with her. I met with her last Friday and her father. She's doing really well. She's going to public school. She's doing really well with her grades. She actually showed me an award that she received for her grades. She and I did talk about some counseling for her. So that's something that I was going to look into to see if the department would help pay for. Also, she expressed wanting to see her brothers. And because of that bond restriction, I wasn't quite sure how we could maneuver that. So I thought I would put in a request with the department to see about doing a sibling visit at the office once a week.
Did you check in with the maternal grandmother to see if maternal grandma is able to help with that sibling visit?
I have not yet. I just found out all of this late on Friday. And so I'll get with her today to see if maybe we could do it that way. If not, we can sure do something at the office.
Thank you, Cherie. Now you mentioned that there are bond restrictions on Melissa Mitchner. Is it correct that she's been arrested on counts of child endangerment?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that tied back to the incident that led to this CPS case?
Yes, ma'am.
And she has bond restrictions against any contact with Emberly, Kylan, and Killian. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. How is she progressing on her services?
She's doing really well with me. I do not have any problems contacting her or meeting with her. She is living with a family member due to not being able to be in that home any longer. She was living with the maternal grandmother and maternal great grandfather and the boys, but because of that, she had to move out. So she does have a good place to live. She has a full-time job. I think she has, the last time I talked with her, she picked up extra hours so that she can pay for anything that she needs to pay for that's extra. She has started her counseling with Tim Invelson. She's already had one session and she has one coming up, I believe, this week. She has signed the release paperwork for her OSAR, and that was sent in, but I have heard that that's going to take anywhere from 2 to 2.5 weeks for them to contact her, but that is in the works. She has a date for March the 7th for her rational behavior therapy. And she also was supposed to start last week on her parenting class. So I'm hoping that she was still able to do that.
Okay, thank you for that update on her. And Mr. Franklin was also ordered to participate in services. Is that correct?
Yes, I did see him in jail last week. And I encouraged him to try to do anything online that the jail offers. He had already taken an anger management class, I believe. I told him he might look in to see if there's some type of parenting class that he could be involved in, and also any kind of drug education as well.
Okay. And in your court report, you mentioned that he might be going to TDCJ soon. Is that correct?
Yes, he said they told him it could be 2 weeks, but he was not for certain.
Are there any additional services that need to be ordered for either parent?
No, ma'am.
Are there any additional services that need to be ordered for any of the children?
I believe just the counseling for Emberly. She actually is very interested in the equine therapy.
And what therapy places around town do equine therapy?
There is one that a particular coworker of mine we have used in family base before, and so that is something that I was going to seek to do to see if we could get some type of concrete services to pay for that.
Okay. So we're just asking the court at this point to order individual counseling for Emberly, or are we asking for equine therapy to be ordered?
She really stressed that she wanted the equine therapy, so I think that would probably maybe be beneficial to her since that's something that she is interested in.
Okay. Let's see here. Pass the witness.
Ms. Lucero?
Just a couple of questions, Your Honor. As far as Emberly, I know that she's placed with her father. Is that correct, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you met with them. Did he advise you by chance that he has filed a petition to modify conservatorship as to Emberly?
He did mention that they were going to court sometime this week.
Okay, all right then. I just wanted to make sure that your office was aware of that. Okay, all right. And then as far as the OSAR, just so we're all on the same page, you said it would take 2.5 weeks or so. Will Ms. Mitchner, will she receive a phone call, or does she need to continue following up with them, or what needs to happen on her end?
It's my understanding they call her, and like I said, that's what we're hearing is it's taking anywhere from 2 to 2.5 weeks before they ever receive the phone call.
Okay, all right then. I just wanted to be clear on that. Okay, I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Archer.
So did you say that Mr. Franklin, you're just asking him to do drug classes and parenting classes?
Yes, I feel like that's kind of what's available to him. Of course, we can't drug screen him in jail, and I know that's on the court order. But I just told him that he just might want to look into things that were available to him. I did tell him I would be glad to bring him paperwork for parenting if he couldn't find something appropriate. So I was going to check back in and make sure that he did find something.
Oh, wonderful. And if they move him before that gets done, are you willing to send that to the facility?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'll mail that to him.
Oh, wonderful. I mean, did he seem receptive to taking the classes?
At first he didn't. He felt like he wasn't a part of this case, but I told him, there's a time when you're planning to be released, and it would be good if you had some of these things, to better your skills of helping take care of these kids, whether they're together as a family or he just has some type of visitation.
And then you said he did hop on and finish one class?
Yes.
Okay. And which class was it?
He said an anger management class.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
Ms. Hughes, you said that Mr. Franklin indicated he was probably going to TDCJ. Did he take a plea offer, or was he found guilty, or do you know how long he's going to be sentenced to?
He said that he would probably be in Plainview until at least December of 2024.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
Ms. Gutierrez, anything further from the department?
Yes, Your Honor. One follow-up for Cherie.
Okay.
Cherie, did Mr. Franklin give you any proof that he finished that anger management class?
No, it was just his word.
Okay, so you don't have.
I'm sorry.
You don't have any details on like what was covered in the class exactly. Is that correct?
Correct. He did tell me that his mom can sign in, I guess, to his account there, and that I gave him one of my business cards and told him he can pass that along to his mom. And any certificates, if he's not able to mail those to me, then if she was able to download them and print them, I would be glad to get them from her, anything that he completes.
Okay. No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further from the department?
Yes, Your Honor, we're just asking that counseling for Emberly be ordered, and in addition to that, or with that, equine therapy if available.
Okay. All right, then, Ms. Lucero, do you have any witnesses?
Your Honor, I didn't have any witnesses, but there's a couple of issues I'd like to address. Mr. Mitchner, Emberly's father has filed a petition to modify, and they do have a temporary hearing coming up this week. I was just making sure the court was fully aware of that. And also, her attorney on her criminal case is looking into hopefully modifying bond conditions. And if that's done, and those conditions are lifted, of course, with restrictions, could we let, do we need to come back for a hearing, or can we let the department know, and then maybe she can start having some visits with her kids? I was just going to ask that from the court.
If she can get the bond restrictions modified, the only thing I would say is that all visitation will be supervised, but I don't have a problem with her visiting her kids supervised if she's not violating her bond conditions.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it, Your Honor. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Yes, sir. Continue with the order to participate. Continue placements as is. Children appear to be doing well in their placements. I will tell you, I looked at the Potter County jail roster earlier this morning, and just for whatever it's worth, it showed that Mr. Franklin had been sentenced to state jail, although it did not specify any length of sentence or the offense.
All right. Okay. I think I know what his offenses were. I've seen some exhibits from previous hearings. So, okay, then. I will order that the parents continue working the services previously ordered by the court. I will order, I'm going to order counseling and equine therapy for Emberly. I hope she'll qualify for both. We've had some kids that have had excellent results with equine therapy, so I'm all about it. All right, Ms. Gutierrez, did you want a compliance hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
How far out would you like it?
Cherie, do you want it 2 or 3 months out?
3, please.
We could get it 3 months out, please, Your Honor.
Okay. I'll set the compliance hearing for May 13th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of May 13th to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram is with us representing the children. The alleged father, Yancey Fee, PHEA, is not with us. Jerica Shadbolt, the mother, is not with us that I can see. Let me just run down. She was in the waiting room earlier. I have Kathy Jones, Amy Bailey, Nathan Reyes, Aaron Harmon, and then I have someone on a phone line.
So Amy Bailey, Kathy Jones. Sorry, I don't know why I was echoing. Are my worker and supervisor, please.
This case was set for noon. It's now 12:13. We will proceed in both Ms. Shadbolt and Mr. Fee's absence. Okay, Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I'd first call Nathan Reyes.
Okay. Did you say he's a officer?
Thank you, Judge. Officer Reyes, how are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed with the Amarillo Police Department.
And how long have you worked for APD?
A little over 3 years. October of last year was my 3-year mark.
Okay. And are you a patrol officer for APD?
Yes, ma'am.
And is part of your duties to, I guess, police the streets and make sure that no one is breaking the law? Did you hear my question? Sorry.
Yeah, I said yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And on January 25th of 2024 at approximately 3:43 a.m., were you working as a patrol officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, did you pull over a vehicle?
Yes.
And what was the reason for you pulling over that vehicle?
There was a paper tag on the rear, obviously fictitious.
Okay. And based on your training and experience, you indicated that tag was fictitious. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you pulled over their vehicle, did you come into contact with the driver?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was the driver of the vehicle?
It was Miss Jerica Shadbolt.
And at that time, explain your interaction with her.
Before the traffic stop or after it was already conducted?
After the traffic stop, please.
So I conducted the traffic stop. She pulled into the Toot Totem at 3rd and McMaster's. Upon my first contact with her, asked her for her driver's license. She originally said she didn't have it. So I went ahead and was like, okay, I can't positively ID who you are. You're going to step out of the vehicle. At that point, she was like, oh, I do have my driver's license. And then she pulled it out of her wallet. Even though she had it after that time, I still requested her to step out of the vehicle. to separate her from the car. By this time, I still haven't confirmed like the VIN number or any identifying features on the vehicle because that paper plate that was displayed on it came back to nothing. During her exit of the vehicle, or I'm sorry, prior to her exit, she was kind of confrontational, stating, you know, she didn't have to get out or she doesn't know why she has to get out. She eventually did get out. When she did, she kind of positioned herself in a way blocking any view inside of the vehicle. Due to the tint on all the windows, the only way I could see inside from the passenger or the driver's side is through the open door. She blocked it as she got out. She stood in front of the driver door. Asked her to step away from the vehicle, step behind the car in front of my unit to kind of get her away from the driver door. She was a little confrontational there again before she eventually moved in front of my unit.
Okay. And at that time, did you have another officer on scene with you?
I did. His name was Officer Perry.
And did he inform you of something in the vehicle that was of a concern?
Yes, while I was back there confirming her identity, he kind of walked around the car. He noticed a firearm was, you know, lying on the driver floorboard. He observed it through the windshield.
Okay. And during your investigation, was that a concern for you?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you talk to Miss Shadbolt about the weapon?
I can't recall the exact words. I can't recall if I asked her if there was one in there or not. I don't want to say for certain.
Okay.
But
Did she
no,
confirm?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to talk over you. Let me ask you a quick question. Did she confirm that she was indeed in possession of that weapon and knowingly had it in the vehicle?
She didn't bring it to our attention until we located it, which was kind of an officer. She did say yes, ma'am. I can hear y'all fine. I don't know if it's probably my end.
Okay. Can we give him an opportunity to try to answer that again, Judge?
Yeah, I don't remember what the question was.
The question was, did she confirm that she knew about the weapon in the vehicle?
She didn't bring it to our attention at first. It was a officer safety concern. After we did press the issue, she did state she knew it was in there and it didn't belong to her as her friends.
And did she say that the reason why that she had the weapon?
At first, she told me it was her friends. She left it in there, but she later stated her friend gave it to her for her own protection. Due to some domestic abuse she was under, or that she was having with, I think it was her baby daddy or boyfriend. I can't recall.
Okay. And in regard to Miss Shadbolt, was she arrested at that time?
She was placed under arrest shortly after for unlawful carrying
of a weapon.
Yes, ma'am.
And
let me interrupt you, Miss Wiggins. Miss Shadbolt's now in the waiting room, so I'm going to get her in.
Okay.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we've already started your hearing. The first Officer Reyes is testifying currently. Real quickly, let me go over something with you. You had filled out an application for a court-appointed attorney. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've not appointed you an attorney because what you've listed so far is that you have $960 a month of bills and that you have a gross income of $6,000 a month. With a disposable income of over $5,000 a month, I can't find that you're indigent.
Okay. Yes, I probably read that wrong. My gross income is less than 3,000.
Okay, I'd prefer that you fill it out again.
Yes, sir.
And pay a little more attention to what your expenses are and what your actual take-home income is each month.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ms. Wiggins, I hate to do this, but Ms. Shadbolt, I'm going to tell you, we've got until, looks to me like till March 1st to have this hearing. You could ask that I continue or postpone this hearing so that you can try and hire a lawyer and or try to amend your application to see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you want to ask that we continue or postpone this hearing, I'll do that. However, your children will remain in the department's custody until we come back for the hearing. So do you want to attempt to hire a lawyer or redo your paperwork and postpone this hearing, or do you want to just go forward with the hearing today?
I would like to go forward with the hearing today.
Okay, you can get that same paperwork from anyone from St. Francis or the department and fill it out again and pay a little more attention to it.
Okay, yes, sir.
Or you can try and hire lawyers. So
yes, sir.
Okay, all right, Miss Wiggins, back to Miss Officer Reyes.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Reyes, did you search Miss Shadbolt incident to arrest?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you find anything on her person at that time?
Not at the time, no.
Okay. And at the time, were you able to then run her through dispatch to check for her criminal history?
On scene, no. There was some issue with dispatch running people. So on scene, I was unable to tell or pull up her criminal history or anything like that.
Okay. When you were at booking, were you able to do that?
Yes, ma'am. While en route to Potter County, dispatch did inform me they could run people again. So at that time, we did request them to run Miss Shadbolt, and we got a return on her.
Okay. And based on that information, did you modify the charge in which you were arresting her for?
Yes, ma'am. The original charge was unlawful carrying of a weapon. After figuring out she had felony convictions that she was still on probation for, we did change that charge to felon in possession of a firearm.
All right. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right. Ms. Shadbolt, do you have any questions you want to ask Officer Reyes?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, then. Can Officer Reyes be excused?
Please, Judge.
Okay. Officer Reyes, thank you for your testimony and thank you for your service. I'll remove you so you can go back to your afternoon's business.
Is Officer Taylor in the waiting room now?
Yes. Kaylee Taylor?
Yes.
Yes.
I would call her.
Okay.
Judge, Officer Taylor, how are you currently employed?
I'm sorry?
How are you currently employed?
With the Potter County Sheriff's Office.
And do you work in booking?
No, ma'am.
Where do you work?
I work the pods.
Okay, and can you explain what you do there?
Monitor the inmates for the safety and security of the facility, as well as the inmates.
And when someone new is entered and goes through booking and then it gets, I guess, stationed at your pod, do you do a search of that individual?
When they enter the facility, yes, ma'am.
And did you do a search of Jerica Shadbolt?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you locate anything on her person during that search?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you locate?
I found a bottle with 46.7 grams of what we believe was Xanax, and that's what Shadbolt stated it was. And then a clear baggie with 8.9 grams of what she said was crack cocaine.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right. Officer Taylor, was it located on her person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Anyone else have further questions for Officer Taylor?
No, Your Honor.
All right. May she be excused?
I have no objection.
Okay. Officer Taylor, thank you for your testimony and thank you for your service. I'll remove you so you can go back to your afternoon's business.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. All right. Thank you. Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Harmon, how are you currently employed?
I'm a probation officer for Potter, Randall, and Armstrong County.
And is one of your probation, I guess, clients? Jerica Shadbolt.
Yes, ma'am.
And does she report to you for her probation?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is she currently on probation for?
Sorry, I gotta refer back. Burglary of a habitation.
Okay. And has she been drug testing for you?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you discussed with her recent tests?
Yes, ma'am.
And when was the last time you spoke with Ms. Shadbolt?
On the 9th of February.
Okay. And did y'all talk about a recent drug screen?
Yes, not
And
a
what
drug test.
I'm sorry.
She actually admitted that day to me that she used methamphetamines, marijuana, and Xanax on 2/7/2024.
Okay. And had she previously admitted to using previous to January?
Yes, ma'am.
And approximately what dates did she admit to using?
She admitted to using meth on 9/14/2023. She admitted to using meth on 10/16/2023. She admitted to using meth, marijuana, and Xanax on 12/27/2023 and January 31/2024. And then she admitted to using meth, marijuana, and Xanax on February 7/2024.
And I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
Right. Ms. Shadbolt, do you have any questions to ask Ms. Harmon?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. Can Ms. Harmon be excused?
I have no objection, Judge.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for your testimony. I'll release you so you can go about your day's business.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Wiggins, any other witnesses?
I would call
Ms.
Amy
Wiggins.
Bailey. Thank you, Judge. Miss Bailey, how are you currently employed?
I'm an investigator with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services.
And did you go and speak or attempt to speak with Miss Shadbolt on January 30th of 2024?
Yes.
And did you attempt to talk to her about the 3010 rights form?
Yes.
And did she indicate to you that she was already familiar with those rights?
Yes.
At that time, did she indicate to you where her children were?
She indicated that her son was with her brother. She did have Sanjay with her and had put the child into her friend's vehicle while we were on scene.
Okay. And was that friend Brittany?
Yes.
Now, during the course of the investigation, have you been able to talk to Miss Shadbolt about her contact with her children, her recent contact with her children?
Yes.
And what did she indicate to you?
She said that after her case closed in November, that the friend that had the care and control would allow her to come get the children and spend time with them. She would take them for like one night and then take them back to the friend.
And based on that information and the previous cases that Ms. Shadbolt had been in, did the department feel like it was necessary for the children to be removed from her care?
Yes.
And where are the children currently placed at this time?
They are both together in a foster home in Amarillo.
And is Ms. Shadbolt having visitation with them?
Yes, I believe she's had one visit so far.
And has she been compliant with the department since the removal of the children?
Yes.
And regarding the mother, did we also initiate a home study on Deja Luke, a cousin?
Yes.
And is that the placement that Ms. Shadbolt would want her children to be placed?
Yes.
And also Ms. Shadbolt has indicated that she does not want the children given immunizations. Is that correct?
Correct.
Sure. And just for the court's notice, we did file a notice of immunizations. That was for the kids being able to go to daycare without having vaccinations. That way, we will not be giving any vaccinations to the children. And Miss Bailey, have you been able to get in contact with the alleged father of the children?
I have not.
Has Miss Shadbolt spoken to you about the father of the children?
Yes.
Has she talked about any history with him regarding domestic violence?
Not with me. What she did say about him is that he cheated on her and he left her with 2 kids.
Okay, so he has not been supporting Miss Shadbolt in her care of the children?
No.
And have you been able to, I think I asked you, have you been able to get in contact with him?
I have not. I tried 2 phone numbers that we had in our system and I ran a finder's search and went to the address that returned on the finder's search and no one was there, but I did leave a business card, but I've not heard from anyone.
And are we asking that the children remain in the care of the department?
Yes.
And do you believe that that would be in the children's best interest?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Bailey, would it be a continuing danger to the physical health and safety of the children to be returned to either parent today?
Yes.
All right. Would it be contrary to the children's welfare to be returned to either parent today?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right. Ms. Shadbolt, do you have questions for Ms. Bailey?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, then. Ms. Wiggins, any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, we have no other witnesses at this time.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ingram, do you have any witnesses?
No witnesses.
All right, Ms. Shadbolt, do you have any witnesses or do you wish to testify today?
Yes.
You want to testify?
I would just like to say that I
No. Let me stop you. If you'd raise your right hand, Do you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right, now you can tell me anything you want to tell me.
I just wanted to let you know that since all of this has started, I have entered Synacor. I start that today. I've been in close contact with Tony Rodriguez. I started his program with Final Hope. And I've also gotten into my TPC, and I start that on the 22nd of February.
You say you gotten into, are you going into TPC for an evaluation, you mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For a mental health evaluation.
Okay.
And I start Synacor today for outpatient. I was going to do inpatient, but being that I had court and everything else, I decided to enter myself in outpatient while I'm working services and doing everything else that I'm needing to get done.
Okay. Good for you. Anything else you need to tell me today?
No, sir.
Okay. I've explained to you, you can try to refill out that application if you're, I don't know what you're doing. Are you still working?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can try to fill out that application again, or you can try and hire a lawyer. But if you do fill that out, be sure it gets to me. Usually someone from St. Francis or the department will get it to me. Sometimes they just file it and I never know about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, then. If there's no other witnesses, then Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Yes, sir. Believed to be in the children's best interest of the department. Be named as temporary managing conservator. Placement remain as is. Kids are doing well in placement.
All right. Thank you. Okay, then. I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue the children's current placements. We'll have the next hearing, in this case, on March 25th, 2024. That will be a status hearing, and that will be by Zoom like today's hearing. So parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of March 25th to see what time we'll have that hearing. Ms. Shadbolt, this next hearing on March 25th is what's called a status hearing. The department or St. Francis is going to come up with a written service plan, things they want you to do to get your kids back. That hearing is where the court hears any complaints about that. If you've got anything in there you think's unfair or that you think you could not complete, that's the hearing you need to come back and tell me so that I can hear what is requested, and I'll probably be ordering you and the alleged father to do some services.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That will conclude this hearing. We'll stand in recess. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. Mr. Hill is with us representing the father, Mr. Salinas, who last I knew was incarcerated. Oh, we're waiting for Mr. Hill to connect to his audio, so we'll give it a minute. I have Emily Braden, Alicia Walker, and Logan Grazier in the waiting room.
Teresa, who do I need?
Emily Braden is my investigator.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
So who do I need in?
Emily Braden. Logan Grazier is an officer. He's a witness.
Okay.
And then the other two, can you repeat them? I'm sorry.
Alicia Walker.
She's a St. Francis worker.
I think she's going to be the worker for this case, Judge.
Okay, that only leaves Logan Grazier.
Okay.
Who?
If Mr. Hill had talked to his client and if he was just
Mr. Hill, I've called the case, and as far as I know, your client's still incarcerated, is correct?
That's correct, Judge.
Is he Potter or Randall County?
Randall County.
All right. Have you had a chance to visit with him?
I have, Judge, yes.
All right. Does he want a hearing today?
He's okay with us moving forward without him today, Judge.
Okay. Do we want a hearing, or did he offer any agreement with you?
Judge, he understands what's coming. I guess negligently I didn't ask him to agree to anything, but I explained what his situation was and what the outcome of today's hearing would be.
Okay. Well, for your protection, we'll go ahead and we'll put on some witnesses. So, okay, Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you. I call Logan Grazier.
Sir, Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Grazier, how are you currently employed?
I'm a sergeant with the Amarillo Police Department.
And what do you do as a sergeant for the police department?
I'm currently a patrol supervisor.
And were you working in that capacity on February 3rd of 2024?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And at approximately 2:30 a.m., were you dispatched to a location regarding a shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
And what information did you have when you were dispatched to that location? Oh, and Judge, can we take